mysteries. I tell you, I advise every Christian to live in the blood. There is power, supernatural in the blood. There is power in the blood. There is power in the blood. There is power in the blood. Power in the blood. There is power in the blood. There is power in the blood. There is power in the blood. Sing she in the blood. In the blood. I discover mysteries in this wood, in the blood. I discover wonders. I tell you, I advise every Christian to live in the blood. There is power, supernatural in the blood. There is power in the blood. There is power in the blood. There is power in the blood. Power in the blood. There is power in the blood. There is power in the blood. Power in the blood. In the blood. In the blood. I discover wonders in this wood, in the blood. I discover mysteries. I tell you, I advise every Christian to live in the blood. That is power, supernatural in the room. Param param pam 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 pam. In the blood, I discover wonders in this wood, in the blood. I discover mysteries. I tell you, I advise every Christian to live in the blood. There is power, supernatural in the blood. Friends, won't you come me to the mansion above? The city of God made with old, where sorrows and sadness will never come in. He's waiting and pleading you come. Sing praises, sing Hosanna. Our sorrows and sadness will end. We'll meet in that city and rejoice there with the Lord evermore. No sunshine will be there, for Jesus is the light over there. Hosanna, yes, Hosanna. We'll be singing and rejoicing evermore, evermore. Sing praises, we'll sing, singing Hosanna. Sorrows, sadness, sadness will end. We meet and sing, singing the city, rejoice forevermore. No sunshine will be, no need of sunshine. Jesus, the light over there. Hosanna, sing, singing Hosanna. We'll be singing and rejoicing evermore, evermore. Oh, my regurgitations. You know, I'm remembering my days in a Kuliva. My regurgitations just takes me back to my days in a Kuliva, you know. Oh wow, that that was a pastor we had in those days. He liked to have long services, like we come into Sunday to service on Sunday morning at 8 a.m. So you'll be there from 8 a.m. You have Sunday school from 8 a.m. to 9. And then Sunday school will end, then you summarize the Sunday school for maybe like 15 minutes, and then there'll be announcements, and then it will be praise and worship, and then there'll be preaching. You know, at the end of the day, we're leaving church around 2 p.m. So people were complaining, you know, we spend a lot of time in church. And then I think the church approached the pastor, or somehow he got to know. And we had a kind of a plan to let him have the long services that he loves to have, but once in a while, so that we can leave the church, you know, early, because we still come back in the evening. We have evening services. So we had we decided that every third Sunday we called it Praise and Worship Extravaganza. Praise and Worship Extravaganza. So every third Sunday we have long service, you know, and so we try to keep the service within, you know, 12, 1 on other days, but this particular third Sunday is going to be like up until 3 p.m. So we have that long service, praise and worship extravaganza. And then that pastor left. And we got Pastor John Aja, Reverend John Aja. Oh, Yabaka. When Aja came, we didn't want to leave church. The same people that were complaining that we were staying long in church, we did not want to leave church. We want to stay there. He's speaking turn right. Big English. We're speaking sugar-coated English. Like you like to say. I don't want to speak sugar-coated English, but he does use a lot of high-sounding words. Euphemism and the rest of them. They say encomium and the big words he was using. And we really loved it because not just the words, we love the power, because he believes so much in the word. He believed in salvation, he believed in holiness, and he believed in power. And when you see all of them together, and singing also, all of them together, so you have the singing, you have the preaching of the word, you have the holiness, you have the prayer. Oh, prayer, yes. You have the prayer, then you have the power. All of them coming together was massive. And so we have Sunday service. We'll finish around 2 p.m. and then we'll come back for evening service that same Sunday at maybe like 4 p.m. or so. 4 p.m. 4 to 6 or so. And then on Monday we are back for I think choir practice. On Tuesday Bible studies. On Wednesday I think it's another choir practice. On Thursday youth program. On Friday preparatory class for Sunday school. On I think Wednesday is prayer. So Monday choir practice. Tuesday Bible study. Wednesday prayer. Thursday youth meeting. Friday preparatory class for Sunday school. Saturday choir practice. So we are in church every day. I attended most services except on Fridays because I wasn't volunteering as a Sunday school teacher. And I got the message preached to me by some people like, why don't you come, come for Bible preparatory class and blah, blah. Saying, no, I am in church every day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. I skip only Friday, But we, the same people that were complaining under the previous pastor that we stayed to, although under that same pastor, we still had Tuesday Bible studies, but we didn't have the Wednesday prayer. And then there's still the youth meeting on Thursdays for sure. But the zeal, the revival that we experienced under Reverend John Aja was out of the charts, was out of this world. John Aja, oh man, many of us that were with him, we stayed with him for just a few years, but it was powerful, it was impactful, it was life-changing. I don't think any of us that walk close with him, I don't think any of us will ever get over that. I don't think any of us that were with Reverend John Aja will ever come to a point where we say it's one out of us. It was in our formative years and it was very impactful. You saw things happen, man. Blind eyes see, salvation. There was a man who was insane, and he had run into a compound and he was shot with an arrow. This outside people's arrow. They shot him with the arrow, and normally when they shoot you with that arrow, it's like say death, let's say. But this guy survived it. They brought him and he was praying for it. They were chained in church and we were praying for him. We were ministering to him and praying for him, and he recovered. He recovered fully. And the day that they came back to testify in church about his recovery, full recovery, when the parents brought him to church, that day, Reverend John Aja has already left the church and has also left this planet, relocated to heaven. And the church he went to before, when he left Equiliver, that church, some people had come to testify to the goodness of God in the miracle they received through his ministry. And then in our church at the Kuliver, these parents were also there to testify for the miracle of their son. And both churches were crying at the same time because Reverend John Aja has already relocated to heaven. You know, it is an amazing, amazing thing, to have that experience. All right, God bless you. I'll see you later. Bye.